Welcome to Saturday Night Live.
Sábado noche en el Bernabéu. Everybody good? Everybody got it written down?
Yeah.
I don't want to speak while you're like doing it. Anyway, so these are the expenses you'll have as a manager. I'm just gonna give you a breakdown of the opportunity, knowing that Alex and Jordan are opening their office soon. This is what it would look like to get into management right now with Frontier. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys 3 different examples. I haven't thought of these yet, so this is totally on the fly. But Alicia's gonna be my calculator and help me. So right now there's 6 people announced to go to Connecticut. So we're just literally gonna do an opportunity breakdown for them, okay? So 6 people announced to go to Connecticut, and 2 owners, right? So really 8 people. That's a large crew, by the way. Let's say the 2 owners don't go in the field, which is not, as a new owner, you want to be in the field. And again, you might be like, Richard, well, you said the goal is to get out of the field. Yes, I'm looking at this as a 10-year career. And for you to spend less than 1 year, or even if it was 2 years, going to the field, like, I think it's irrelevant. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to create like some wealth, then you want to be in the field. Because again, if you opened a new restaurant today, let's say you're a waiter, and you go through the ranks, you go through assistant manager. Who's been in the restaurant business before? Let's say you open, like, you start as a, is that how you start? As a waiting tables?
7.
Maybe under that, right? If you're really ugly, they put you as like the run the trays, right? If you're good looking, they'll put you to wait tables. I know that. So, okay, so you start. Imagine you were in a training program to own the restaurant you were in. What restaurant were you in, Ebony?
Papa Do's.
So imagine you were gonna run Papa Do's, and you start as a waiter, and then you make it to assistant manager. I don't know the points. Okay, you make it to level 2. That would be maybe GM. I don't know. And then from GM you go to actually managing the restaurant. And let's say you own it, which you would never. Papa Do's, you would never. They wouldn't let you own it. But let's say you do own it, and the day you own it, you're like, all right, I'm gonna stop waiting tables and cleaning and reaching out to customers. Would you do that? No. This is why the same reason when you're the owner or you're a people that are going with the new owner, you'll see that owner in the field. And this is a good thing. Like, that means that owner's leading from the front. It's like, imagine opening a dry cleaning business and you don't want to dry clothes. Does that make sense? Would that make sense? No. No, okay? So we're gonna do the math considering those 2 people are not in the field, but they will. Does that make sense? So what would be for Frontier a bad example of a leader, like in terms of sales? How many sales would they do?
0.
In a week. Yeah, 0 for sure would be a bad example. They wouldn't go.
Like 3.
Like 4,
said in a week.
6,
Let's say 5. Let's say they do 5. So 5 sales. That would be less than 1 a day. Okay, we see people do 5 in a day sometimes. Nishita is brand new, has no sales experience. Nobody's ever heard her voice in the office yet. She's so shy and did 3 yesterday. So is it very bad to do 3? And that's a compliment. Like, she's got great leadership. Would it be really terrible to do 5 in a week?
Yeah.
If we just saw an entry-level person do 3 in a day?
Yeah.
It would. So let's just do the math. Let's just do the math on how this business would do if Connecticut team goes and they all do 5. Okay? 5 sales times how many people?
8.
Oh, 6.
6 people equals how many sales total?
30.
30 sales. Okay? Now, a side tangent here, okay? The pay for the office. The office gets paid. I don't know, dude. Shania, do you know? Like, what's the total pay that we get for a gig plus auto bill pay? You guys know?
270.
270. So let's say we get $270 for 1 sale. And again, we're not gonna get into the details, but imagine that the sale has auto bill pay and Eurosecure. Okay, which most of the sales should, except for the give it down shout outs today, right? Except for Jaden. So Jaden would be broke immediately. So, and how much do we pay to, let's say everybody's a level 1, which is not the case. There's level 2s that get paid more money, and there's entry levels that get paid less money. But let's say on the middle, everybody's a level 1. What's the average pay for a level 1? Do you have it? Do you know?
Like 135.
135. So it's actually the middle, right? Okay. So it's literally, it's the middle. So what would be the office profit?
132.
It's the total pay minus what you give to the rep. Would you agree? Everybody understand that math?
Yeah.
Simple math? Okay. So basically, Alex and Jordan, let's say they're not in the field and they go to Connecticut, they would make how much per sale? $135 for every sale in the office. And again, this is just considering it's gonna be, this number is not gonna be accurate. You know why? Because this is considering that everybody has 100% approval,
Yeah.
which we know isn't the case, right, little birds? And so, but let's just say they all get installed, okay? Let's say we're talking about sales, okay, installs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This team would make, how do we calculate the profit of that team? It would be 30. Everybody understand what I'm doing? I'm trying to calculate how much the money the office would make.
Right, right.
Profit would be 30 sales, right?
Yeah.
Times $135. How much is that, Alicia?
For one, you said 30 times 135.
Uh-huh.
Times 135.
4,050.
4,050. Your name is not Alicia. The
My
name.
I ain't need no calculator either.
Hey, he asked for it. He asked for it. Hey, I need to get like you with a mentor. Hey, I'll take it.
Everybody got some popcorn? All right. DJ, I promise I'll pick you next time for a calculator.
I appreciate you.
$4,050, okay? We should calculate it, I'm thinking about Meredith, we should calculate it with the approval. So we're gonna do it, last week we had a 66% as an office approval, okay? So I'm gonna, instead of doing that, we're gonna calculate 66% of that money is what we would actually receive. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Why?
Yeah.
Because the other sales are not paid or canceled. Does that make sense, Trey?
Yep.
So then that would be, minus approvals, or minus cancels and pendings, you guys know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be
2,000.
66% of $4,050.
2,673.
673.
Yes.
Okay. So now that's how much the company profited. By the way, this doesn't mean, now we have to take down all the expenses, because as the owner, the manager is in charge of paying all these expenses. How much are the expenses?
4,000.
And by the way, I'm gonna, do you guys want me to explain them what they mean?
13.
Sterling.
Yes.
Most people said no, I like that. A couple of people said yes, so I'll do it fast. Insurance, here's the best part about our business, dude. If you open an LLC today, or everybody got a friend called Deshaun that has a t-shirt business, right? And they're about to, they finna blow up, right? If your friend Deshaun goes and opens a business in LLC, has to go get insurance, it's way more than $100. You know what's the cool thing about us? Like, you know how crazy it is to pay $50 a week? These are weekly expenses. You only pay $50 a week for accounting. Carolus wants to open a company, accounting might be $50 an hour. But the thing is, we're all separate companies. Jordan has his own company with Alex, separate than me. But we're smart. So when we go to an accounting firm and we need an accountant, we say, hey, we're together. Give us a bundle deal. And now we get a price range as if we were a company of like 2 million people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you realize how much money we save there? Because of networking, because we're connected. That's for me one of the smartest, if you're listening with mature ears, one of the smartest business moves in the world. Like, you can go open a business and you don't have to work with Frontier. You can go sell whatever, your t-shirts, your lemonade stand, but you would have to go get your own stuff. And we have a whole team of accounting and legal, which I didn't even put it here, that only charges insurance $100 a week. We're like, it could be into the hundreds per hour. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We save because we're connected and we all go as one, but we collect money as individuals. But we go get deals as a team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It is the smartest thing ever. Like, if you just actually understood the business, you'd be like, what's happened? Why does the world not know this? I don't know. You're probably because you're not doing well on your second round. eStream is the system we use for applicant stream and how it tracks the applicants. The back end works with it a lot. Indeed is the source where people apply to the job. The recruiter is the person that makes calls and filters people out that cannot do the job on the phone. So those people that apply but never go into a first round. You might think, oh, this company hires everyone. No, we actually have a whole bunch of people in the back saying no to people. And so they don't go into first round interview with you and waste your time. Does that make sense? And it still happens. So that person costs about $1,000 a week. To put ads on Indeed, like actually you gotta pay, so outside of Indeed, sorry, probably another $400. Job Window is a system we have. You can use your own. Like when you open your office, you can actually have your own. This is our system for social media and website. So we have a company called Job Window. Cam is the owner. He used to come here every time. He comes here every once in a while. His name is Cameron Basada. He's in Canada. He has a team of people in India. And they manage our Instagram account, social media. I don't post anything on New Bern social media. I send pictures to him. For me, that's cool. He makes the website, the logo. I just approve everything. But he has a whole team of people. It costs me $150 a week. I think that's cool. You might be like, well, I want to make my own social media. You can. It's just, I don't know where you can find the time, bro. But it's a lot. Office supplies, paper, printer, crap. Hub is the person that types in your financial reports. My hub is Laura Porter. She's the only person, well, actually Claire too now, but Laura Porter is the only person that has access to my bank account. She pays the bills for me. She pays rent. She makes sure I pay taxes. She makes sure I do all this stuff so I don't get in legal trouble. Does that make sense? As a business person, you don't want to be in legal trouble. You already have too much to do. And then Sterling is the background check system. So we pay, every time you take a background check, it costs money to me. Does that make sense? It's necessary expense. Would you agree? Yeah. So all of that is $3,200. We didn't calculate taxes. When you pay people their paycheck, you know how if I tell you your check's $1,000, do you get 1,000? No, you get about 800, right? When I tell you your check's 1,000, it costs me 1,200 to give it to you. You know how crazy that is? Like government double dips on your check from my end and then from yours. So when you're the owner, you pay double taxes. But then this is the scam, and then the government is this beautiful entity of people that just take forever to give you a damn sticker for the DMV. Anyways, outside of that, okay, we didn't calculate taxes in there, and probably some other stuff. We didn't calculate meals. Also, the owners are not in the field, so they would have to drag a salary out of the expenses, which is not recommended. Should the owner, to a new company that has $0 in the bank, should the owner be an expense or an asset? Asset. Owner should be an asset, but if the owner didn't have a paycheck, then they were going to have to take it from here, so it'd be an extra expense. We're not counting that. Means the money would be more than $4,000. We're going to leave it at $4,000 because you realize it could change per city, based on LA is probably more expensive than Buffalo, New York. Okay, so if that's what they do, minus expenses is how much, Alicia?
1327.
Minus 1327, right?
Minus.
So you do this, 2673 minus $4,000.
1327 is the total.
Well, it'll be negative.
Negative 1,1327. So what just happened to this company? They lost money. Does that mean Jordan didn't work 80 hours that week? No, he still did. And so this is the thing, dude. Is it risky? Yeah. Now, are you willing to put yourself in a position that you can go bankrupt? Like, Richard, I started here because I wanted to make more money. I understand. So this is only one part of me. But if you're not teaching your people, if you're not having conversations, we didn't even include base pay. If you even wanted to give people base pay, because not only they suck, but you're also going to save them from sucking by adding more to the expenses, then you would go negative. What would happen is that company would go out of business. Does that make sense? Yeah. I want you guys to realize I'm teaching you the opportunity, but like I'm being completely transparent with you. Like this happens. Like the owner has to be able to drive people to do more than 5 sales. Because if not, the company won't make money, and not only the owner, but that person and the other people, nobody will have a job. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that wouldn't be smart. You have to learn to drive yourself first to do 10 sales a week, and then to do more. And by the way, is the team gonna grow? If they do 5 sales a week, and they're hiring people, 5 sales, really they're getting paid on 4. And they start hiring people, and the average paycheck here is how much? Maybe $400 a week or less. Are those people going to be able to hire people and train them? No. If you make $300 a week, you think you can teach somebody to make more than that? No. So is that going to grow? It's not. Right? So now we're going to do the math backwards. Let's say let's say we got 6 leaders and they all crush it. So let's do example number 2. Instead of 5 sales per person, what would be a crushing week?
12 to 15.
12. Let's say they do 12. So 12 times 6 people equals how much?
72.
72 sales. Okay. Profit is 72 times how much money do we make per sale?
$135.
$135. How much is that number, Miss Alicia?
9,720.
How much?
9,720.
9,720. Now we know that we gotta pay cancels, minus cancels. So 9,720 times 0.66.
6,415.
$6,415. Okay, minus expenses, minus
It'll be 2,415.
Can you do that number times 52?
Times 52. 125,590.5.
You see the difference? Here's a company with the same amount of people, 5 people or 6 people, that will go bankrupt. We're not gonna do that to you. This is why we don't promote you right away. Because you would go bankrupt. We wanna do that to you. This is why we have a training. I'm not trying to scare you. It's like, would it be smart for us to open you and help you get promoted? Some of you are like, I wanna get promoted, everyone get promoted. Would it be smart for us financially, logistically, as a grown-up, to put you in a position where we know you would be negative $50,000 in debt? No. So guess what we're waiting to do while we train you? Make sure your team is a profitable team. Does that make sense? This is why we have to look about sales. Like, we don't really like talking about sales, but we kind of have to a little bit. Does that make sense?
Right.
Now, the same people go out and crush it that week. What's the difference? They make a 6-figure income with 6 guys. I want you to daydream how many people you see in here. With 6 guys, you can make 100,000, 125,000 a year after expenses. Okay? This is an average office, 72 sales. You know, Andrew Augustine, would you agree this is an average office? They would get shit. They would be on the low metrics call for low metrics, this office. Yes or no?
He's correct.
It's true. I run this call. Like, if you have less, if you're an owner in the country that does less than 85, you gotta get on this call for like, why are you doing less than 85? But still, owners with 72 can make $125,000 a year. This is why we tell you it's a 6-figure income, because it's gonna be really hard for you not to. Really hard. And by the way, you can do whatever you want with this money. By the way, we're not even gonna get into how much you can write off from here. And how much we can get into these topics. I love these topics. But you can make a 6-figure income with 6 people. Now, do you think these people, now let's do a last example. You think these people are gonna grow now? If you're making 12 sales, are you making good money on your check?
Yes.
So you're gonna duplicate pretty good?
Yes.
You think those people are gonna grow?
Yes.
Let's say they all hire 1 person each. Would it be super small, that office still, with 12 people?
Yes.
Let's just say they get to 15. You think 15 is good?
Yeah.
Andrew, how many people are there in your office?
We're at 37.
37.
37.
My boy making some money. And we laugh, but this is like real dollars. Like, this is not Monopoly, bro. Like, these are real dollars that people are making. And look, you can have a better cancel or a worse cancel. But point is, something's getting installed out there. I looked at it like, I'm gonna take, out of all that profit, that's probably times 10 for us. Out of all that profit, I'm probably paying $200,000 a year from that profit on the expenses. I would have another $3,000 a week to pay Meredith and Martin and Kari so we can be nice people to the client. So it could scale massively. But now let's say we have 15 people. Let's say they all do decent. Let's say they all do, I don't know. What'd it be?
8, 9.
10.
10, 12, 9, what do you guys, let's say 10 for simple numbers. Okay? So they do 10 sales times 15 people. How many sales is that?
150.
150 sales. By the way, did you notice on the second example, did the rent cost more money?
No.
Did the expenses go up?
No.
Keep that in mind. 150 sales, do we make the same per sale?
Yes.
So 150 times 135 is how much?
20,250.
$20,000. And anybody want to say out loud, how often is that?
Weekly.
A
Weekly.
week, dude.
Oh, yeah, weekly.
That's $20,000 a week. by the way, this is another, by the way, that's how much you would get deposited in the bank account, which is why we need to be able to trust you, because you can't just go below it. You have to pay paychecks to people. Which is why character is so important, and for us to know that you're, when I ask you, I'm asking people in Connecticut, like, hey, how are you doing with your finances? It's not because I need you to use, I don't need your money. It's because I want to see how responsible are you with money today. Because I'm looking at you, you might not look at yourself like that yet, but I am looking at you like, if you got a deposit for $20,000, would I be nervous? Or would I be, Gloria got a deposit for $20,000, I know she wouldn't take a dollar, I know she wouldn't even look at it until she paid all her expenses legally first. Because she's a responsible lady, would you agree?
Yes.
Do you agree that's an unspoken thing in the training that we have to be able to create with you?
Yes.
Okay. So $20,000. Now, let's say we got better on installs because the team is growing. We got to 70%. That normal? We were at 72% a couple weeks ago. So let's say it's 70%. So now it's 20,250 times 70% because only so many get installed.
14,175.
It's 14,175. Now, you might agree, you might say, well, Richard, now the expenses are higher because there's more people. Sure, but not much more. Maybe taxes, paychecks, and maybe some recruiting or advertising. Maybe there's more posts going out. So instead of 4,000, let's say the expenses are 7. So now another $3,000 of expenses. But by the way, that's not like that, okay? It's probably gonna be another 500. But I'm trying to show you worst case, and on the best case, I'm trying to show you worst case. Does that make sense? I'm trying to show you the lowest. Because we did 300 and something sales last week, or 2 weeks ago. And we got paid on 73% of those. And it was, I already paid rent on this place until November of this year because I paid it all at once so that I could not pay less taxes. So like my expenses are less actually because I'm not paying rent. Does that make sense? Anybody, you can do the math on that. So
7,000?
let's do -7.
Okay, 7,175.
Minus 7,000, let's say your expenses went up, how much is left?
7,175.
Per week.
Yes.
How much is that a year?
7,175 times 52. 373,100.
Okay. This is an office doing 150 apps. You wouldn't even be top 3 on the tracker, on the whole program. Okay? You wouldn't even count outside deals and how much money you would make on overrides. I'm just telling you. This is why we push you, dude. This is why, hey, I'm excited you guys went out on Sunday. I'm a little pissed that it takes paying you $200, which is garbage, for one sale, so you can be motivated to do 2 on a Sunday. If you could just have that energy every day, even if you only get paid $135 now, if you actually had the mindset to look at, I'm about to make $7,000 a week making 0 sales. Like, you're not gonna make any of these. Like, this is not counting the owner. This is only 15 people. You would be on a low rolling call for not having anyone in your office. You would be getting calls from Frontier, not from me, saying, hey, why don't you have 20 active people? We're gonna take away your leads. Like, dude, like that's what happens behind the scenes. You know what I mean? They're not taking leads from us in Dallas. We're doing the sales. But $7,000 a week. Now, by the way, but like Richard, Jordan, and Alex, they're 2 owners, not 1. They haven't got a salary yet because they haven't done sales. Okay. Well, what would be a healthy salary for them? I don't know. Somebody.
5K.
For 1 week?
Like a thousand.
That'd be a lot. That'd be a lot. They could afford it. I wouldn't recommend it, but they could.
Right.
You realize, like, they pay themselves $5K. Let's say it's $2,500 each. That means they would both be making separately $120,000 a year, right? Or 100. How much is $2,500 a week? Yeah, $10,000 a month. If they're both making $120 on their personal check, their company would still make that -5 is 2. Would you agree? So their company would make $100,000 a year, and they would both make $100,000 a year also. Are you kidding me? Like, do you realize like you have to work hard? Anybody realize like I gotta work harder? Now let me ask you: when you go to the field today, is your work ethic? Are you worth $7,000 a week? Or if somebody was to spy you and be a spy on how much you're working when no one's watching you, is it worth $7,000 a week? Is it worth negative? Is it worth $500 a week? How much is it worth your effort? Because I know we push you, and I know, and sometimes I'm a human, and I feel a little sorry, I'm like, damn, I'm making this girl cry. But like, the price is too big. Like, you're not gonna get this at any job, and if you do find it, please let me know. Like, because I might go. Quit with you, DJ, and we'll go. If you find me a Taco Bell spot, they pay me $7,000 a week, I'm doing the tacos, bro. Let me know. So these are 3 different examples, but do you realize how important it is, first of all, for you to learn to drive yourself? How important it is the duplication. And do you also realize how much is at stake? Do you realize how much we lowball the interview when we tell people $100,000? Do you understand the turnover a little bit better? Like, you're like, yeah, a lot of people quit. Yeah, okay. So let's just say, forget the business for a minute. If we just told you, like, hey, job offering for $373,000 a year, anyone can apply. Do you think there would be a 90% turnover on that? Like, you think 90%? Do you think everyone that applied would make it?
No.
Or they would disqualify 90%? Probably, right? I mean, you tell me. How many of your people and your whole life you've met make more than that? Raise your hand if you know one person that's not me, that makes more than that. Raise your hand if you know one person that makes more than that. Or keep your hand up if it's 2 people. If you know more than 5 people that make more than that. 10 people? One hand up. There's one hand up. And it's Ebony, and she's extremely young. She's only met 10 people in her life that make more than that. Would you agree that's less than 10% of the people she's met her whole life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't even have to ask her. It's true. So, and that's only one person. It's like, dude, that's why there's turnover. Because we're putting you through a filter to make that much money. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you can be here, but we at least got to get you out of that stage and get you into a positive state. This is more likely where they will start. If they all do 12 with 6 people, probably they won't. I mean, with Jaden doing no auto bill pay, we know it won't. But they'll hire some people. Yeah, Jaden, you're getting wrecked all the way until the last day, bro. Does this make sense?
Yes.
This is what's at stake. Like, this is, and you're like, Richard, I didn't apply for that. I understand. I want you to know, if you want to grow into a management role, that's available for you. And we don't even get to like how much you make by promoting offices and things like that. But like, this is a legitimate opportunity with Frontier right now. You see Frontier on billboards. You see them spending the money. You see them doing it. This is a legitimate vehicle for a person with a 1.9 GPA. My upline Rafael has a 1.9 GPA in high school. He was one test away from failing high school, and he makes $100,000 a month. He can't tie his shoes. Seriously, I always stop telling him, but I'm like, why you not tie your shoes? He's like, why do you care about my shoes? Leave me alone. They're my shoes. And I was like, you're right. How much money does someone have to make for someone not to make a comment about their shoelaces being untied? You're right. That's enough money. So anyway, there's 3 examples. And so my question for you is, what kind of example, which one are you? Which one do you want to be? You know, and so how should you act? You want to be the last one. So how should you act today? Are you acting today like a person that can lead? Can you lead 15 people that do 10? Why would they follow you? It's a good question. What are you doing when no one's watching? Are you working hard or are you taking a break? And like, you don't have to answer that out loud. We know. We see the sales. We know. Oh, but for me, it was a territory. I've been here for 5 years. There's no such thing. The territory could be your problem one day or 2, but there's a pattern. Does that make sense? Right. That's why we look for hardworking people. That's why we're excited for you to go on Sunday. I'd rather be on Sunday on the beach with you in Punta Cana with umbrellas on the drink. Free. I'd rather do that. But I also get excited to see you work hard because I'm like, dude, if I can get me a couple friends that make $7,000 a week, life would be a lot more fun. Would you agree? Yeah. So anyway, you guys think you can use this?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go on break. It's late. Real quick for level 2s for Frontier. We're going to the field a little later today because we took a long. Should we reduce the goal a little bit to compensate for that, Ryan? No. Should we do less auto pays, Jaden?
No.
Okay, so it's 11:50, so we'll be back at 12:20 for break. No coming in here. Grab your papers, grab your leads. 1, 2, 3.
Break.
Connecticut, real quick, into my building.